Hello everybody, this is Manu-S and welcome to another Eternal Contenders video. So, we had a big nerf to Argenport in the nerf to Bartholo, basically making the card unplayable in my opinion. And in a more recent video I was looking at a more tribal centric approach to take Argenport towards and make Tavrod work. But the results with that were kind of mixed and I was not overly satisfied with it. It seemed solid but not quite as good as I would like. So I looked into ways to just revamping the more generic good stuff based Argenport Midrange and came up with a pretty good adjustment to test from here, which is also why I moved the deck to Eternal Contenders away from Eternal top decks, because I am not sure if it still is the top deck anymore, basically. Alright, so let's talk about the deck. So basically I took it a bit more away from the aggressive beatdowny nature and a bit more towards a more value utility oriented angle. Basically what I did is I replaced the 4 Lesrai Falchion, which were an iffy card to begin with, to be honest, with 4 Dark Return, because the Falchions were really only there because they were so good with Bartholo, and without Bartholo they're really not worth it. So I replaced them with Dark Return, which gives us more redundant copies of all of our good units, which are mostly pretty powerful and have utility attached to them, so that's pretty good. But we lose 4 hits for Tavrod, which I compensated by bringing back Auric Interrogator, replacing Bartholo. So this keeps the amount of Tavrod hits the same as before. Interrogator and Dark Return synergize really well with each other. We know that from Xenon, so this is a good package. And where Xenon has Xenon Initiation, we have Bloodletter. So Interrogator is about as good here as it is in Xenon. And where Xenon usually often runs a couple of obelisks, we have Tavrod as a potential hit and Emerald Monuments. So our Interrogators are arguably even a bit stronger than the ones in Xenon, and that pushes the deck a bit more towards a grindy value and utility angle, as I said. And yeah, Interrogator is possibly the best card by now from the Tale of Horus Trevor, and still doesn't see as much play as it should, I think, and making Bartholo very unattractive opens up room to push Argenport more towards an Interrogator-based deck than a Bartholo-based deck, which is nice. So the rest is basically still the same. There's like 4 Sabotage. I currently decided to give up on the 3rd Vanquish for a 4 Slay to make the deck a bit more versatile, especially now that we are a little less aggressive and a bit more grindy and utility focused. So having a more universal card might be a bit more appealing, but I'm not entirely sure. I might revert back to 3 and 3 simply because Slay, being Slay and not Vanquish, almost exclusively matters against Feln, which is not a particularly good deck and also not the most common deck, and sometimes in like corner case scenarios against aggro where they have no Vanquish target, but killing a random guy still helps you enough that it's your best option is to spend 3 power on killing a 1 or 2 drop rather than doing something else with your power. And then what I also did is I replaced Impending Doom with Steward of the Past, now that we are less aggressive and also already get pinged by Interrogator. Being also pinged by Impending Doom might be a bit much, it might still be that Impending Doom is the right choice, but Steward of the Past also is pretty well positioned right now. It's really good against time mid-range decks. It's really, really good against Xenon, which is definitely one of the top decks. And it's also pretty good actually against Praxis, which is also one of the top decks again, and shutting down their Dawnwalkers and just providing a pretty good offensive and defensive body. Sure, it doesn't hit for that much, but it can attack into everything when you have other things holding down the fort, for example. So with like a Bloodletter on it, this is like a 6/8 deadly, which is pretty good because it cannot be single blocked by basically anything, and any gang blocks means everything that gang blocks dies, so it generates potential card advantage and makes the card pretty annoying. And there's obviously like a couple of other scenarios and matchups where the Void Suppression is relevant or helpful at least, and also a 3/5 deadly is usually much better against aggro than a 5/5 flyer that pings you, because a lot of the time you want to be blocking, not attacking against aggro. And Argenport is arguably a bit soft to aggro given its slow early game. The rest is still the same. The thing is, right now that the deck, the way it looks now, moved a lot closer to Xenon and plays out a lot like Xenon. And both have some advantages and disadvantages over each other. And I would need more testing to see if Argenport is either sufficiently different enough to Xenon, or if not, as good or better than Xenon to justify its existence in the current form. Because if Xenon is just a better version of what Argenport is now, that would make Argenport pretty redundant and expendable, and then we should just be playing Xenon, for example, if we are looking to be like a shadow-based Interrogator Dark Return mid-range deck, for example. But yeah, I mean, Justice has some nice upside. Justice has much, much better removal. Enforcer is a really, really good mid-range card. Runehammer in a lot of matchups is actually a powerhouse. And Tavrod, if he doesn't get answered, is also a powerhouse. But Xenon has its own upsides in like some relic removal with Banish, the interaction of some of its removal in Xenon Initiation with Dark Return, more 2-drops thanks to Wasp, and some other things like Titan and the interaction of like Dark Return with Windbrood Sauropod and Dawnwalker to grind, while Tavrod is not that good at grinding actual grindy decks because they often have silences and removal aplenty to keep Tavrod from generating advantage. Unless they don't have anything, and then you're already doing pretty well. So it's a close call, and I'll have to test more and also leave it to you to figure out if you like this enough alongside or over Xenon compared to Xenon. But I think other than Steward maybe still having to revert back to Impending Doom, this is the most obvious and possibly best take to adapt Argenport Midrange after the death of Bartholo, basically. Other than like completely reinventing a new Argenport archetype, basically, which I also have no concrete idea yet for. I'm working on like a mid-rangey, control-y, revenge Harshul based Macto deck inspired by, I think among others, Adam Henn, playing it in like the top 20, top 50 in a ladder last month, and trying to figure out if I like the deck enough and if there's a good list that I like to maybe record that at a later stage. You got a glimpse at me testing it already in the latest stream highlight short. But yeah, that's still very raw and needs further testing. Alright, that's it for the Argenport V2 deck tech. an update after the last nerfs. Hope you like the new and updated list and give it a try. I'll sure will do so with the games coming up next. So we'll take it to battle as usual, show it in action, see how it plays out to give you guys a better idea. Alright, stay tuned for the first half of the games coming up in a moment.